Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your pile of articles, research, and notes and distill the most important nuggets of knowledge into something truly digestible and thought-provoking.
Yeah, making sense of it all.
Exactly. Today, we've got a fascinating, really expansive set of sources. They touch on everything from the intricacies of market strategy to the very essence of effective leadership. It's like a masterclass in modern business thinking, all curated just for you.
Indeed. And our mission today is to explore a pretty diverse array of these foundational concepts, the things that underpin how businesses succeed, how leaders thrive, and how markets actually function.
Okay.
We'll be connecting the dots between what might seem like, disparate ideas, offering you a shortcut to being remarkably well-informed.
And hopefully sparking a few aha moments along the way.
That's the goal. Yeah. We're going to unpack these sources and see what essential tools they offer for navigating today's complex business landscape, really moving beyond just the definitions to understand the implications of these powerful ideas.
Great. Let's get started. Okay, let's kick things off with what feels like the most fundamental question in business. What's the ultimate goal of any strategy?
Yeah.
Why are we even doing this?
Right. Where does it all lead?
One of our sources, 7 Powers, gets right to the heart of it with something called the value axiom. Sounds incredibly weighty.
It is, and it's deceptively simple on the surface. 7 Powers posits that strategy has one and only one objective: maximizing potential fundamental business value.
Okay, fundamental business value, not just profit.
Exactly. This isn't just about short-term gains or, hitting a quarterly profit target. It's about building lasting inherent worth in an enterprise. It sets the baseline for everything that follows in strategic thinking, emphasizing a deeper, more enduring kind of success.
So it's about the long game.
It is. It's about ensuring the company's bedrock is strong enough to withstand market shifts and competitive pressures rather than just chasing, transient trends or fleeting opportunities.
And that ties into the mantra from 7 Powers, too, doesn't it? Which speaks of a route to continuing power in significant markets.
Precisely. So the axiom is the ultimate goal, maximizing that fundamental value. And the mantra is the how you achieve it, by securing sustainable competitive advantages or power.
It's not just about value now, but sustainable power in the long run.
Right.
This long-term perspective is absolutely crucial, wouldn't you say? So many companies, especially today, they can get caught up in quarterly results or immediate shareholder demand.
Oh, definitely. The pressure is immense.
And they often sacrifice future resilience for present numbers. But this axiom forces a different kind of thinking.
It really does.
So what does fundamental business value truly entail beyond immediate profit? Is it reputation? Employee satisfaction? Innovation?
Well, it's a combination of all those and more, but critically, it's about their synergistic interplay, how they work together.
Okay, synergy. How so?
Fundamental business value extends beyond just the financial metrics on a balance sheet. Think of it this way. A strong brand, which builds reputation, right?
Yeah.
That allows you to command premium pricing or secure customer loyalty. That then generates capital you can invest in cutting-edge R&D, which is innovation.
Which leads to?
Leads to proprietary technology or unique processes, intellectual property. This, in turn, helps attract and retain the best talent employee satisfaction.
And they then drive more innovation.
Exactly. They further drive innovation, deliver superior customer experiences, and strengthen the brand. The truly insightful takeaway isn't just that these things exist, but that they form a self-reinforcing loop.
A virtuous cycle.
Precisely, creating a compounding effect on intrinsic worth far beyond a single quarter's profit.
So this kind of value, it guides decision-making, especially in turbulent times.
It provides a steady North Star. It ensures resources are allocated towards truly impactful, long-lasting assets rather than fleeting opportunities.
Like maybe foregoing some quick profit for a big R&D project?
Exactly. Or prioritizing building a strong ethical culture, even if it means slower growth initially, because you understand the long-term compounding effect on trust and talent.
That makes so much sense. It's not just a list of good things. It's how they fit together to create a stronger whole. And this idea of long-term sustainability and value, it also seems implicit in Built to Last, which talks about consistency of principle.
Yes, that's a great connection.
And not just being concerned with results, but how the results are obtained.
The means matter.
It really underscores that the means are as important as the ends when you're thinking about building something truly enduring. It's not just hitting your numbers, it's doing it in a way that aligns with your core identity and values.
creating a foundation that can adapt to change without losing its essence. It suggests a certain integrity in how you build value, almost like a moral compass for strategy.
Right. Okay, so it's clear then that real value comes from building for the long haul. But what happens when that long haul involves navigating really turbulent waters, where the foundations of your business might be shaken?
Yeah, the competitive landscape.
It seems that just fighting for market share in existing crowded red oceans is often a losing game.
Bleeding resources, yeah.
Which brings us to a concept in our sources called blue ocean strategy. This sounds like a breath of fresh air, maybe, moving away from all that bloody competition.
It absolutely is. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Blue ocean strategy challenges the traditional view, the orthodoxy, that differentiation means premium value at a higher cost.
The standard trade-off.
Exactly. Conventional wisdom says you either compete on price, often by being the cheapest, or you compete on unique features and quality, which usually costs more and appeals to a smaller premium segment.
Either.
But blue ocean strategy proposes that true blue ocean strategy is about breaking the value-cost trade-off to open up new market space.
Breaking it.
By pursuing differentiation and low cost simultaneously. It's an and, not an either-or strategy.
Oh, okay. Both at the same time.
Both at the same time. This is a profound shift because it means you're not just segmenting an existing market or making a slightly better version of something already out there. You're creating a new market space where competition becomes irrelevant, at least for a while.
Irrelevant.
Because you're offering unprecedented value at an unchallengeable cost structure.
They even mention specific examples like Casella Wine's Yellowtail and Comic Relief's Red Nose Day as being both differentiated and low cost.
Great example.
Think about Yellowtail for a second. It's a wine that's both unique in its appeal, easy to understand, approachable, fun.
Demystified wine for a lot of people.
Exactly. And yet not commanding a premium price. It simplified the whole wine drinking experience for a mass market that found traditional wine maybe a bit intimidating. Or Red Nose Day, which created a totally new way to engage in charity with simple, low-cost red noses that became incredibly popular, generating massive engagement and funds.
A cultural phenomenon, really.
That's a powerful combination.
Yeah.
It completely redefines the playing field and makes the competition almost irrelevant, like you said.
And what's fascinating here is the critique of the red ocean trap.
The trap.
Yeah, the misconception that blue ocean strategy is just synonymous with differentiation, that it's only about being unique.
But it's not.
No. Companies focusing only on raising and creating to stand apart often pay scant heed to what they can eliminate and reduce to simultaneously achieve low cost.
Ah, so they forget the cost side.
Right. They end up becoming premium competitors or differentiated niche players in existing industry space rather than creating value innovation that makes the competition irrelevant.
So if you're only differentiating without also thinking about what you can cut out, what you can simplify.
You're not truly creating a blue ocean. You're just maybe a fancy ship in the existing red ocean, still sailing amongst competitors just in a slightly different lane.
Got it.
The and approach, simultaneously innovating value and reducing cost, that's the key to generating true value innovation.
That and approach sounds revolutionary, but it also sounds incredibly hard. Why do so many companies get stuck in that red ocean trap, even when they might understand the concept?
Yeah, good question.
What are the biggest internal resistances to simultaneously eliminating costs and differentiating? I can just imagine internal teams fiercely protecting their existing product lines or processes.
You've hit on a crucial point. One of the biggest blockers is often, well, organizational inertia and frankly, fear.
Fear of change.
Fear of the unknown, fear of cannibalizing what works now. To eliminate and reduce elements of your offering means challenging long-held assumptions about what customers really value and what your industry must provide.
Questioning the status quo.
Deeply. Questioning the very activities that have historically defined your business and your competitors. This can face significant internal pushback from departments whose sole purpose is to optimize those very elements, or from sales teams comfortable with existing pricing models.
Yeah, I can see that.
It requires a willingness to potentially cannibalize existing revenue streams and to embrace a completely new mental model for value creation. And, crucially, it requires cross-functional alignment, where cost-cutting isn't just a finance job, but an integrated part of reimagining the value proposition itself.
So, for you, the listener, this means thinking beyond just head-to-head competition. Can you identify areas in your own work or industry where you might pursue differentiation and low cost simultaneously, instead of just choosing one.
What could you stop doing?
Right. What activities can be eliminated or reduced to open up new value, not just for you, but maybe even more importantly, for your customers? This really challenges us to look at our processes and offerings with a fresh, unburdened perspective, asking not just what more can we add, but maybe what can we take away to make it simpler, cheaper, and more appealing?
It's subtraction, not just addition.
And this shift from competition to creation often requires a really deep understanding of your customers, which I guess brings us right to our next point. Hashtag defining business by the customer.
Exactly. It all circles back to the customer.
So how do you even begin to find these blue oceans or ensure you're maximizing that fundamental value we talked about? Our sources suggest it starts, fundamentally, with the customer.
Yes.
It's not about what you think your business is, but what problem you solve for them. It feels like a profound reorientation.
It truly is. Marketing Myopia, a classic source, argues that selling is preoccupied with the seller's need to convert the product into cash.
Right, focusing inward.
Marketing with the idea of satisfying the needs of the customer by means of the product, and the whole cluster of things associated with creating, delivering, and finally consuming it.
A much broader view.
It's a profound shift in perspective. It moves the focus from the product itself or the company's internal capabilities and production to the external needs and experiences of the customer.
So the business is defined by
the customer it creates and serves, and the unique problem it solves for them. It means asking not what do we make, but what value do we provide? What job are we hired to do?
It's about looking at the world through new lenses. As "do you want to keep your customers forever" puts it. That source talks about becoming a mass customizer and a one-to-one marketer.
Getting personal, yeah.
You create a learning relationship, an ongoing connection that becomes smarter as the two interact with each other.
The relationship evolves.
This isn't just about collecting data, is it? It's about genuinely using that information to refine and personalize the customer experience over time.
Continuously improving.
It makes the customer an active participant in defining the value, almost co-creating it with you, because their needs are constantly informing your offerings.
Absolutely. And let's look at some illustrative content from our sources that really bring this to life. Think about Amazon.
Okay.
The Everything Store highlights Jeff Bezos' almost obsessive goal to take all the inconvenience out of online shopping and deliver products and services to customers in the most efficient manner possible.
Frictionless commerce.
Exactly. This wasn't just about selling books initially. It was about making buying anything as easy as clicking a button.
And then there's Netflix.
Consider the launch of Watch Now by Netflix back in 2007. It started with a modest 1,000 titles, tiny compared to their massive DVD library at the time.
A small bet.
It was a modest beginning, but it was a direct response to an unarticulated customer need for immediate, on-demand streaming. People didn't know they wanted it until it was offered.
And they responded.
Customers responded positively, encouraging Netflix to fuel the fire. They saw the uptake and poured resources into it.
And Amazon Prime. Same idea.
Very similar. The development of Amazon Prime was also about giving customers exactly what they wanted: faster delivery for a flat fee, solving that pain point of shipping costs and delays.
Which people were willing to pay for.
Right, leading to a proud moment for Amazon when people were willing to pay even more to use their fulfillment service, FBA, for their own businesses. These companies were obsessively customer-centric, not just product-centric, constantly anticipating and responding to latent needs.
Even a classic like "How Will You Measure Your Life" provides that great anecdote about customers hiring milkshakes for a long and boring ride to work.
Yeah, the milkshake example. It's brilliant.
It illustrates that customers define a product by the job it does for them, not just its intrinsic qualities.
It's not about the ingredients.
They weren't just buying a milkshake, they were buying a solution to boredom and a mid-morning hunger pang, something that would last, taste good, and importantly, not make a mess while driving.
Fits in the cup holder, one hand.
Yeah. This is such a powerful reframe. It suggests businesses need to uncover these deeper, often unarticulated jobs their products are hired to do, and then design solutions around those jobs.
And this concept fundamentally redefines what a business truly is. It's not about what you sell, but what problem you solve or what need you fulfill for the customer.
And that understanding can drive innovation.
Incredible innovation. Look at how independent bookstores adapted to Amazon. Instead of trying to compete head-on on price or selection, which was impossible,
A losing battle.
They migrated out of the book-selling business and into the literary community business, becoming destinations for cultural events.
Ah, shifting the job.
Precisely. They understood their customers' deeper need for community, experience, curation, not just transactional book buying. They pivoted to serve a different job for their customers, a social and cultural one that Amazon couldn't easily replicate, at least not in physical sense.
They became curators of experience.
Not just retailers of products.
So instead of thinking we sell books, they thought we provide a literary experience and community. That's a massive shift in how you define your entire enterprise.
Huge.
It's truly about the purpose you serve for the customer rather than the product you push. And that in itself could be a blue ocean strategy, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Finding that unique, underserved job.
Okay, so once you've really honed your value proposition and nailed that customer focus, truly understood the job you're doing for them, how do you scale that? How do you grow into a dominant market position, especially in these fast-moving sectors?
Yeah, how do you get big fast?
Our sources introduce a concept called blitz scaling. It sounds intense, almost like a military campaign.
It is intense, and the name isn't accidental. Blitzscaling, as the source defines it, emphasizes that key growth factors like distribution and, crucially, network effects.
Network effects, where the product gets better as more people use it.
Exactly. Like social media or marketplaces. These factors tend to provide disproportionate rewards to a company that is the first in its space to achieve critical scale.
Disproportionate.
Meaning, the winner often takes most, if not all, of the market. Think about it. The more people who use a social network, the more valuable it becomes to everyone using it. More connections, more content, more opportunities.
Right, it creates a feedback loop.
A powerful positive feedback loop. This creates huge barriers to entry for competitors because the first to reach that critical scale builds an almost insurmountable advantage. It makes it incredibly difficult for anyone else to catch up.
So speed is everything.
Speed in these scenarios is paramount. It's often prioritized speed over efficiency, at least initially.
It's about being contrarian and right, isn't it? The source says that gives you a huge advantage because you get a head start on an achieving scale.
Yes, being right when everyone else thinks you're wrong gives you that crucial lead time.
The book gives powerful examples. Amazon pursuing e-commerce when people doubted online credit card use.
Huge skepticism back then.
Google launching search when it was seen as a mature commodity dominated by others like AltaVista or Yahoo.
Seems like a solved problem.
And Facebook building social networks when MySpace was the undisputed king.
Look like David versus Goliath.
These companies saw opportunities where others saw folly or just insurmountable obstacles, and they capitalized on that contrarian insight with aggressive, rapid growth.
They weren't just being different for the sake of it. They were right about a future most people couldn't yet see, and they moved with incredible speed and focus to capture it.
The growth of Tencent, as described in blitzscaling, is another example.
A perfect example. From its QQ instant messaging service, which had, 650 million monthly active users.
Incredible scale.
Massive scale. But even then, Ponyma, the founder, had to figure out what came next when QQ's user base stopped growing. It shows the constant need to adapt and find new growth engines even after achieving dominance.
So blitzscaling isn't a one-time thing.
It's often an ongoing mindset, seeking new avenues for exponential growth and adaptation. The very act of achieving critical scale often uncovers new challenges that demand similar levels of strategic audacity. It's a continuous pursuit to stay ahead.
This suggests that rapid, aggressive growth, even, like you said, at the expense of efficiency in the short term, can be crucial for market dominance, especially when those network effects are strong.
It can be the difference between winning and disappearing.
So what are the risks of not blitzscaling in a market like that? If you hesitate, if you prioritize efficiency too early.
Someone else might achieve that critical scale first, and then it becomes incredibly difficult, maybe impossible to catch up, let alone surpass them.
You're left playing catch-up.
Trying to overcome the immense gravitational pull of the established leaders network. It's often a winner-take-all or winner-take-most scenario, where the cost of delay can be market irrelevance.
Wow.
It's a strategic gamble, absolutely, but one that sometimes has to be taken.
But what happens when that hard-won scale, that dominance, is threatened by new technology? Especially technology that seems inferior at first, maybe even looks like a toy.
The disruptive threat.
That's where the innovator's dilemma comes in, offering insights into why even great, well-managed firms can fail when faced with this kind of disruptive change. It's a paradox, isn't it? What makes them great can also be their downfall.
It's a classic paradox. This deep dive reveals that disruptive technologies often just don't fit an established organization's existing processes, its values, even its customer base.
They don't fit the mold.
Exactly. They often start in niche markets, maybe offer lower performance on the metrics the established company cares about, and cater to a different, often smaller, initially less profitable customer segment.
So the established players ignore them.
Or dismiss them. To succeed with these, the source argues, managers should create an autonomous organization and commission a heavyweight development team to tackle the challenge.
An independent unit. Why?
Because the established company's processes are optimized for sustaining innovations, making existing products better for existing, usually high-margin customers. Its values might prioritize those customers or established channels.
So it rejects the new thing.
It often rejects the initial low-margin, high-uncertainty nature of disruptive innovations. The paradox is that the very things that make a company excel at sustaining innovation, optimizing existing products for existing customers, are the same things that make it blind to and eventually potentially killed by disruptive innovation.
It's not a failure of intelligence, then.
Often not. It's more a failure of organizational design, resource allocation processes, and incentive systems that are geared towards the existing business model.
That's a powerful aha moment right there. It highlights why even brilliant leaders can miss these shifts. They're managing the current business extremely well.
According to all the established metrics, yes.
They give the example of Compaq Computer trying to launch a direct-to-customer business to compete with Dell back in the day.
Right, a classic case.
Their established retailers protested loudly, showing the channel conflicts and how disruptive it was to their existing values and profit model. Compaq's entire system supply chain, Salesforce, was built around its retail partners.
Undermine the core business model.
The source suggests the only way to manage it would be through an independent company, or maybe even a different brand.
Isolate it, protect it from the mothership's immune system.
Trying to graft a disruptive business model onto an existing one, especially when it undermines established relationships or profit centers, is almost certainly doomed to fail, isn't it?
It often is. Because the parent company will inadvertently starve it of resources or force it to conform to inappropriate metrics or timelines.
Yeah.
And a critical point the source makes is that information required to make large and decisive investments in the face of disruptive technology simply does not exist. You can't analyze your way to certainty.
So what do you do?
It needs to be created through fast, inexpensive, and flexible forays into the market and the product. Experimentation.
Learning by doing.
Exactly. Failure and iterative learning are intrinsic to the search for success with the disruptive technology. This is a really tough pill to swallow for successful companies.
Because they hate failure.
Established organizations, which ought not and cannot tolerate failure in sustaining innovations because their core business depends on predictability and flawless execution, find it incredibly difficult simultaneously to tolerate failure in disruptive ones.
Different mindsets needed.
They are built for efficiency and predictability, not for the messy, uncertain world of early-stage disruption where repeated failures are actually part of the learning process. It's a completely different muscle, a different risk tolerance.
This means established companies need to somehow create spaces for experimentation and failure within an organization that is otherwise built for success. What mindset shifts are needed to embrace this?
It's about decoupling the new venture from the old, fundamentally, giving it the freedom to fail fast, learn, pivot, rather than expecting it to conform to the established company's metrics or risk tolerance from day one.
Like an internal incubator, but truly autonomous.
Potentially. It's a recognition that different types of innovation require different organizational muscles and tolerances, almost like creating an antibody within your own system, but one you nurture instead of attack.
It sounds like a constant dance between optimizing the present and investing in the uncertain future.
That's a great way to put it, a delicate balancing act. #, strategic flexibility and the moral frontier.
Adapting to disruption also seems to require strategic flexibility, as one of our sources points out. And this isn't just about business models, apparently, but also about ethics and how an organization defines its impact on the world. They talk about a moral frontier.
Yes, strategic flexibility discusses this concept of a moral frontier. It's quite interesting. Most firms, it argues, operate well inside the frontier, where improvements in moral behavior increase economic profit.
Doing good is good for business.
In many cases, yes. Think of 3M's pollution control programs mentioned in the source. They simultaneously increased ecological responsibility and profits by reducing waste and improving efficiency. These are what the source calls right decisions. Decisions where doing good for the planet or society also directly benefits the bottom line.
Win-win.
Win-win. It shows that ethical behavior isn't always just a cost. Often, it can be a source of competitive advantage through efficiency gains, reduced waste, or enhanced brand reputation.
That's a great illustration. But the source says, at the frontier, things change.
Right. At the frontier, a moral choice involves a trade-off. For example, ecological sustainability versus economic profit. You might reach a point where doing more for sustainability seems to directly reduce profit, at least with current technology or processes.
The either choice.
Yes. But the interesting part, the hopeful part perhaps, is that technological and social innovations can expand the frontier.
Push it outwards.
By creating new ways to achieve both ethical and economic goals simultaneously. Innovation can prolong the point where those hard trade-offs become necessary. It's about not accepting the limits of the current frontier, but actively working to push it outwards, finding the next right solution.
So this raises an important question for you, the listener. How does an organization identify where it sits on this moral frontier? Are you well inside it, or are you hitting those trade-offs?
And how do leaders proactively use innovation to expand it, avoiding those hard trade-offs for as long as possible? It suggests that ethical considerations are not separate from strategy. They're deeply intertwined.
It's not just about compliance, then.
No, it's about strategic foresight, anticipating where society's moral expectations are heading, and innovating to meet or even exceed them before they become a cost or a forced choice. Proactive expansion of the moral frontier can be a powerful source of competitive advantage and long-term value creation.
Building a future where profit and purpose are not mutually exclusive.
That's the potential.
So rather than seeing ethics as just a constraint, leaders can view it as a catalyst for innovation. That's a significant shift in perspective, isn't it? Moving from reactive compliance to proactive leadership on social and environmental issues.
It's about being truly visionary, thinking about the long-term interplay between business and society.
Let's turn now to the human element in all of this. Whether you're a leader or part of a team, understanding how people perform, starting with yourself, seems absolutely crucial.
Foundational, really.
It seems deceptively simple, but can be incredibly hard in practice.
It's remarkably overlooked sometimes. Managing oneself, another classic source, highlights that amazingly few people know how they get things done. We just sort of do things
without thinking about how we do them best.
Exactly. It stresses that how one performs is unique. It is a matter of personality, a given. It's not about trying to fundamentally change your core personality or your inherent strengths and weaknesses, but understanding them deeply. Knowing if you're a reader or a listener, if you work best under pressure or with structure.
And then using that knowledge.
Yes. And furthermore, it emphasizes adapting to what makes their bosses most effective, managing up effectively, and understanding coworkers' ways of working and their values to make use of their strengths.
So it requires observation and flexibility.
A significant amount. Realizing that not everyone operates like you do or in the way you might prefer. It's about finding the right fit for your contributions and adapting your approach to collaborate effectively.
It's not just about managing up or across, but also self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People calls this the ability to think about your very thought process, which it says is uniquely human.
Metacognition. Thinking about thinking.
This is why we can evaluate and learn from others' experiences as well as our own, and consciously make and break our habits. It's that ability to observe ourselves and our reactions that allows for personal growth and adaptation.
It's what empowers us to choose our response to circumstances rather than simply reacting to them instinctively. It's that pause between stimulus and response, as Covey puts it.
So this suggests that effective management, effective interaction really, begins with introspection, understanding yourself, and then extends to deep observation and adaptation to others' working styles.
It's not about imposing your way.
No, it's about finding the most effective ways for everyone involved, considering their unique strengths and preferences. So for you, the listener, how does one cultivate this observational skill?
Well, it starts with active listening, truly trying to understand before trying to be understood. Empathetic engagement, genuinely valuing differences in perspective.
Recognizing that diversity is strength.
Understanding that if 2 people have the same opinion, one might be unnecessary. It requires moving beyond what 7 Habits calls autobiographical responses, where you listen only to relate it back to your own experience and truly seeking to understand the other person's frame of reference, their autobiography or worldview, without judgment.
It's about curiosity over assumption, asking questions.
Exactly. Genuine curiosity.
It sounds like a journey of continuous learning, both about yourself and about everyone you interact with. It's about recognizing that effective collaboration stems from appreciating and leveraging diverse working styles, not trying to homogenize them into one right way.
That's a powerful lesson in humility and effectiveness, isn't it? #tag building high-performing teams.
And when it comes to collective effort, effective teams are absolutely essential. Our sources provide some really practical insights into how to build them, emphasizing that it's a deliberate practice, a discipline, not just something that happens by accident or by putting smart people in a room.
That's spot on. Just having talent isn't enough. The discipline of teams argues that small group effectiveness starts with a crucial first step: consciously choosing which performance challenges are best suited to the team discipline and which warrant the single leader discipline.
So first decide, do we even need a team for this?
Precisely. Not every task requires a team. The team discipline is appropriate, the source says, when individuals acting alone will not have all the answers, skills, experiences, and perspectives needed for success.
Complex problems.
Right. If one person truly has all the answers and capabilities, a team is likely inefficient, and a single leader directing individuals is more appropriate. But for complex problems requiring diverse input where innovation or multifaceted solutions are needed, a team is essential. It's about leveraging that collective intelligence.
And a key takeaway seems to be about size. They typically require a small number, ideally less than 10.
Yeah, keeping it manageable facilitates communication and accountability. Beyond just the challenge itself, the group often has a learning challenge, requiring learning and growth on the part of most members.
So it's not just about solving the immediate problem.
No, it's about evolving together as a unit, sharing knowledge, challenging each other, and developing new skills collectively. This continuous learning aspect is what distinguishes truly high-performing teams from mere working groups that just aggregate individual efforts. They build collective capability over time.
And the sources highlight the need for clear norms of behavior.
Absolutely critical. Illustrative content highlights that teams need to establish these norms. They include things like ensuring equivalent amounts of work, which itself requires careful definition by the team.
Not just equal hours, maybe.
Right. It's about contribution to the shared goals, tailored to the specific team and task. Also, making decisions fact-based, not just based on opinion or hierarchy.
Data over opinion.
And fostering open and non-judgmental dialogue where people listen well and offer constructive criticism. Psychological safety is key here.
So people feel safe speaking up.
Exactly. Furthermore, high-performing teams persistently seek out fresh perspectives and outside opinions, guarding against becoming insular or falling into groupthink. This rigorous approach to interaction ensures that the team truly leverages its collective intelligence and avoids blind spots.
Creating an environment where every member feels safe to contribute their best, even if it challenges the prevailing view.
That's the ideal.
This emphasizes that teamwork really is a discipline, isn't it? Not just a buzzword. For you, the listener, what does equivalent work look like in your team context? It's not necessarily equal hours, but maybe equal contribution to the shared goals, as defined by the team's agreed-upon norms. And it often involves a shared accountability for the overall outcome.
Right, collective ownership.
And how do teams foster that open dialogue and continuous learning to leverage diverse perspectives without just devolving into endless debate or conflict?
It comes back to those clearly defined behavioral norms and a culture of psychological safety, where vulnerability is encouraged, as hinted at in Radical Candor. Allowing people to voice dissent or admit mistakes without fear of retribution is foundational. The art of productive meetings.
Okay, let's talk about something ubiquitous and often dreaded in organizational life. Meetings.
Meetings. The bane of many existences.
Right. It seems like they can be massive time sucks or incredibly productive, depending entirely on how they're managed. I've certainly been in my fair share of both types.
We all have. The effective executive, another Drucker classic actually, has timeless advice here. Making a meeting productive takes a good deal of self-discipline. It doesn't just happen.
Discipline from whom? The leader.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Primarily the leader, but ideally everyone buys in. Executives must determine what kind of meeting is appropriate and then stick to that format. Is it informational? Decision-making? Brainstorming? Be clear.
And
crucially, they should terminate the meeting as soon as its specific purpose has been accomplished. Resist the urge to raise another matter for discussion just because everyone's already there.
on time? Or even early?
If the purpose is met, Yes, respect everyone's time and maintain focus. A meeting is a tool with a specific job, and once that job is done, the tool should be put away.
That feels almost radical in some organizations. I've been in countless meetings where the main agenda was done, but then someone says, oh, well, I have you all here.
Just one more thing. Yeah, and an hour later.
You're still there, wondering where the time went. The book praises Alfred Sloan of General Motors as a great master of follow-up. His process sounds amazing.
It really was a model of clarity.
He would state the meeting's purpose clearly at the start, listen without taking notes, which is interesting. A deliberate choice to listen actively rather than just transcribe.
Focused presence.
Summarize the key discussion points and conclusions verbally, and then immediately after the meeting, write a short memo.
The critical step.
Right. A memo to one specific attendee detailing the discussion, conclusions, specific work assignments, clear deadlines, and who was accountable. And copies went to everyone present.
Incredible clarity. No room for ambiguity about who is doing what and by when. It turns discussion directly into accountable action. Makes every minute count.
It's a masterclass. Radical Candor also touches on meetings, noting that many CEOs and managers struggle to run productive staff meetings. But it suggests a well-run meeting can actually save time overall.
How so?
By alerting you to problems early, sharing updates efficiently, and getting you all on the same page about what the week's shared priorities are. The key is keeping the conversation focused on ideas, not egos, and having a clear agenda.
Even if the agenda is just a list of topics people bring.
Yeah, the source suggests that. If people come with no topics, it might indicate they don't understand the meeting's purpose or find it useful, which is a problem in itself that needs addressing. A meeting isn't just a place to talk, it's a place to decide and commit.
Sloan's method truly is a masterclass in clarity, accountability, and communication. How often do meetings lack a clear purpose, defined outcomes, or concrete follow-up?
Far too often.
This discipline ensures that time spent in meetings truly contributes to organizational objectives, rather than just filling up calendars. It's about maximizing the return on that collective time investment, which is a really precious resource. Hashtag tag the power of emotional intelligence in leadership.
Okay, so beyond structure, process, discipline, what makes a leader truly great? We've touched on self-awareness, but our sources point more broadly to emotional intelligence, moving beyond just intellectual prowess or technical skills, which are often what get people promoted in the first place.
This is a really significant finding highlighted in What Makes a Leader. It states that what distinguishes truly great leaders from merely good ones isn't IQ or technical skills, it's emotional intelligence.
Not IQ. That's surprising.
Well, IQ and technical skills are important. They're like threshold capabilities. You need them to get in the game. But emotional intelligence, EI or EQ, is the differentiator. It's the multiplier at the highest levels of leadership.
Secret sauce.
You could say that. It's described as a group of 5 skills that enable the best leaders to maximize their own and their followers' performance.
And these skills include things like self-awareness, knowing one's strengths, weaknesses, drives, values, and impact on others. We talked about that.
Yes, foundational.
And empathy, which, while sometimes considered, unbusinesslike,
Is actually crucial for connection and influence.
the source also mentions that the drive to surpass goals and an interest in keeping score can be contagious, which makes sense, and that optimism and organizational commitment are fundamental.
These aren't just soft skills. They're foundational to building effective relationships, trust, and motivating teams. A leader's self-awareness helps them calibrate their impact, understanding how their moods and actions affect the collective energy.
And empathy allows them to connect.
Deeply. To understand others' needs and motivations, build trust, tailor their communication, it's essential for collaboration and getting the best out of people.
This is where the ability to care personally comes in, isn't it? As highlighted in Radical Candor.
Exactly. It's about showing vulnerability sometimes, admitting when you're having a bad day, maybe, creating a safe space for others to be human, too.
Humanizing leadership.
Yes, breaking down barriers and fostering genuine connection. That source explicitly warns against a sense of superiority from bosses, which is incredibly damaging to human relationships.
So effective leadership isn't about being perfect or infallible.
Not at all. It's about being authentically human, fostering genuine connections, treating being a boss as a job of service and guidance, not a position of inherent superiority. It's about building that foundation of trust that allows for candid feedback, the radical candor part, and ultimately, high performance.
These insights really show that leadership is as much about understanding and managing human emotions, one's own and others, as it is about strategic planning or financial acumen.
They're intertwined. You can't separate them.
So how can leaders cultivate empathy and self-awareness in these high-pressure, results-driven environments where the focus is always on the numbers?
It takes conscious effort, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Daily reflection, seeking feedback, maybe coaching, a willingness to be vulnerable and to listen more than you speak. Understanding that those emotional connections aren't distractions, they can be the most powerful drivers of performance and loyalty.
It's realizing you can care personally and challenge directly at the same time. That combination leads to far better outcomes.
That's the core message of radical candor, yeah. It's not about being soft, it's about being effective through genuine human connection.
Okay, let's shift gears now into the financial world. Our sources offer some crucial advice for investors, trying to cut through all the market noise and speculative frenzies we often see.
Yeah, getting back to basics.
It feels like a return to fundamental principles, almost an antidote to the emotional roller coaster of investing.
It really is. The Intelligent Investor, Benjamin Graham's masterpiece, gives us a timeless truth. A stock is not just a ticker symbol or an electronic blip. It is an ownership interest in an actual business,
A piece of a real company.
with an underlying value that does not depend on its share price. This is such a foundational concept, but one that far too many market participants seem to forget, especially in bubbles.
In the market itself.
The market, Graham says, is a pendulum that forever swings between unsustainable optimism and unjustified pessimism. Mr. Market, the manic depressive partner.
Always swinging too far one way or the other.
Understanding the cyclical, often emotional nature of the market is key to not being swept away by the crowd or letting your own fear and greed dictate your decisions.
So the intelligent investor, then, is a realist who sells to optimists and buys from pessimists, taking advantage of those swings.
Using the market's moods, not being controlled by them, and critically, to minimize the risk of being wrong, which is always present, you must insist on what Graham called the margin of safety.
Margin of safety. What does that mean exactly?
It means never overpaying, no matter how exciting an investment seems to be. Buying assets for significantly less than your conservative estimate of their intrinsic value.
Building in a buffer.
Exactly. Providing a cushion against unforeseen events, misjudgments about the future, or just a general downturn in the business's fortunes. It's a defensive strategy, fundamentally, to ensure that even if things don't go perfectly, you still have a reasonable chance of a decent outcome. Protecting your capital first and foremost.
The most important thing illuminated reinforces this, doesn't it? Recalling the infamous Nifty 50 stocks in the early 1970s.
Oh yeah, a cautionary tale for the ages. These were supposedly stalwart companies, the blue chips of their day, considered so good, so dominant that you could supposedly buy them at any price. Think Coca-Cola, IBM, Xerox back then.
Buy and hold forever.
That was the mantra. They sported price-earnings ratios between 80 and 90, which is just astronomical. Investors were paying an exorbitant amount for expected future earnings.
And what happened?
Within just a few years, many of these giants saw their PE ratios collapse down to 8 or 9, meaning investors who bought at the peak lost 90% of their money on some of the supposedly safest stocks around.
Wow. Even on great companies.
They bought into great companies, but they paid the wrong price. This vividly illustrates the danger of overpaying, even for quality assets, and how market optimism can completely detach prices from underlying value.
Right.
It leads to severe consequences for investors who ignore that margin of safety.
It's a powerful reminder that a great company bought at a bad price is a bad investment.
Precisely. Price matters. A lot.
This emphasizes that investment success seems to come from discipline. Courage. The courage to be contrarian and independent critical thinking, not from following the crowd or relying on, Wall Street fact.
Or tips from your brother-in-law.
Right. For you, the listener, this means looking beyond the ticker symbol and really understanding the underlying business, its intrinsic worth, and making absolutely sure you're not paying a speculative price based on hype.
It's about owning a piece of a productive enterprise, not just gambling on a price chart, and having the patience to wait for value to emerge or for the right price to appear. Hashtag understanding and managing systemic risk.
But even the most intelligent investor, armed with all that discipline and margin of safety, still faces unpredictable risks,
Right.
Including those black swan events, those rare, unpredictable occurrences that have massive, unforeseen impacts.
The unknown unknowns.
How do you even prepare for the unthinkable, the events that by their very definition you can't predict?
It's incredibly difficult. The Black Swan describes how we often worry too late ex post, after the fact.
Like fighting the last war.
Exactly. After the 1987 stock market crash, the source notes, half of America's traders braced for another one every October, not taking into account that there was no antecedent for the first one. They were looking for a repeat.
But black swans are unique.
By definition, this is mistaking a naive observation of the past as something definitive or representative of the future. We tend to prepare for the last crisis, the one we now understand, rather than the next, completely novel one. This cognitive bias, this reliance on past patterns, leaves us vulnerable to truly unprecedented events.
The ones that come out of left field and have catastrophic consequences.
Right.
This leads to a real dilemma, though, as explored in The Most Important Thing Eliminated. How much time and capital should an investor devote to protecting against the improbable disaster?
The cost of hedging.
Insuring against every extreme outcome can be incredibly costly and detract from investment returns during normal times. If you hedge against every possible tail risk scenario, you might dilute your returns so much during the good years that you underperform significantly.
Paying a huge premium for insurance you might rarely or never need.
It's a difficult balance, isn't it? Between being robust and resilient and being overly cautious, which can be just as detrimental to your long-term financial goals. How do you prepare without crippling yourself?
There's no easy answer. But this connects powerfully to the insights from The Big Short regarding the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis.
A modern black swan for many.
Absolutely. Mike Burry, the investor who famously bet against the housing market, initially believed Wall Street firms selling credit default swaps.
The insurance on mortgage bonds.
Essentially, yes. He thought they would never be so stupid as to make huge naked bets that millions of insolvent Americans would repay their home loans. It seemed irrational.
But they did.
But they did. And the problem was compounded because these insurance policies, the CDSs, were themselves bundled together into complex financial products called collateralized debt obligations, or CDOs.
Which were then rated.
Often rated AAA, the highest safety rating, by the credit rating agencies, even though they were stuffed with risky subprime mortgages. And incredibly, the source notes, the AAA-rated insurance company AIG was on the other side of many of these bets, effectively insuring these supposedly safe instruments.
Ensuring the supposedly unshakable.
The whole house of cards was built on the pretense that these loans were not all essentially the same, doomed to default en masse. This flawed assumption, this illusion of diversification, justified the high ratings and made the massive CDO business possible.
Until they all failed together.
Exactly. This illusion of diversification, based on faulty assumptions about the independence of mortgage defaults across the country, created systemic risk on an unprecedented scale. The entire elaborate structure collapsed when the underlying mortgages all started failing simultaneously.
That's a chilling example of systemic risk and the dangers of complexity and groupthink in financial markets.
Absolutely terrifying looking back.
It highlights the difficulty of truly predicting or protecting against black swan events, but also the critical importance of questioning assumptions, especially when a market seems too good to be true or overly complex.
If you can't understand it, maybe stay away.
It's a powerful reminder that conventional wisdom, especially when incentivized by huge profits and bonuses, can be spectacularly, catastrophically wrong. And true intelligence often lies in independent, rigorous analysis, even when it means standing alone against the market's consensus.
Having the courage of your convictions based on sound analysis.
For you, the listener, it means cultivating a healthy skepticism about financial instruments, ratings, and any claims that seem to defy fundamental logic or common sense. Ask the simple questions. #tag outro. Wow. We've taken quite a whirlwind tour through the core of modern business thinking today, haven't we?
We covered a lot of ground.
From that foundational axiom of maximizing fundamental business value, through the revolutionary concept of blue ocean strategy and deep customer centricity, to the rapid growth of blitzscaling and the adaptability required to navigate the innovator's dilemma. It's truly a rich tapestry of ideas.
And we didn't forget the crucial human element, the importance of managing oneself first, building truly effective teams, running meetings that actually accomplish something.
Imagine that.
And understanding the undeniable power of emotional intelligence in leadership. Then finally, we navigated the often choppy waters of the financial markets.
Discussing intelligent investing, the margin of safety, and that ever-present challenge of systemic risk, and those unpredictable black swans that can upend everything.
Yeah, those seismic shifts.
It's clear that the path to success in today's complex world isn't about following a single dogma or a simple checklist, is it?
No silver bullet.
It's about intelligently drawing from a diverse toolkit of insights, like the ones we've discussed. Each of these ideas, gleaned from various sources, offers a unique lens, a different way to view your own challenges and opportunities.
Helping you to not just react to the world, but maybe to proactively shape your future within it.
Exactly. So, as you reflect on this deep dive we've taken,
Consider this. In your own domain, your own work, your own industry, what conventional wisdom or seemingly unchangeable trade-offs are you currently accepting? Things that maybe with a fresh perspective, a different lens, a dash of innovation, could actually be challenged or even completely redefined.
what unseen patterns or overlooked perspectives are waiting for their own deep dive to unlock their true value?